It's fine live.
Oh, did you push record yet?
No.
3, 2, 1, record. Jump back over here. Looks like we are live. We have been live for 10 seconds.
I'm gonna have for some reason it's not recording on my end. I'm gonna have to shut down that.
It's all right. It's par for the course.
No, man, I wanted a computer now. Well, I'm getting that upgraded one, but I'm still waiting on getting that one piece for it. All right, I'm behind you, but
That's all right.
just trying to make your life a little bit harder.
I mean, I'll be able to splice together. 8 to 10 seconds ain't nothing. What's up, Duckalope Outdoors? We got 4 people in here. Let's keep them rolling. We're going to keep this rolling a little bit until we get everybody in here. Share some links out.
Duckalope? What's a duckalope?
It's like when you want to get married, but instead you just elope. And so a duckalope's like a trip where you want to like hunt, but instead you just elope and hunt somewhere else. I don't know.
I think it's like a jackalope.
A jackalope.
Yeah.
It's like half duck, half antelope.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, he did say.
He needs a mount with that.
That's what he said. It's like a jackalope.
He needs a mount with that.
What's up, Scott? How you doing, man?
Are we gonna? We've got a double header tonight. Let's do the whole thing, man. Let's do the whole deal on here. What do you say?
I don't know, man. You're putting a tough one on us now. Maybe. What's up, Jim?
We are recording a double header.
Might lose my voice.
Well, I mean, whether we're putting it on YouTube or not isn't going to affect your voice any of it. You talk differently on YouTube than you do non-YouTube.
Yeah. You haven't been able to tell?
Hey, anyone that puts up a $10 super chat will get a drawn picture of a duckalope. Hand-drawn picture of a duckalope.
What's up, Jason? I'm not sure what the good try was.
$10 duckalope.
Thanks, man. All right, let's get these links shared, and then we'll go ahead and jump on into it.
Again, quarantine. See, now it's not Summer Elliott. Now it's like quarantine Elliott has no concern about time schedules. Talk and talk. If this were like during the school year, like, come on, we gotta get started.
You'd be angry. You'd be hangry. Gar asked 2 3/4 inch shell or 3-inch shell. Man, I've been running 2 3/4 all last year for 12 gauge, and it was fine. It was like, I mean, you just pay extra money for 3-inch. For 3-inch on 20 gauge though, I think it is better to get the extra pellets because your shell gets a little bit shorter.
I would focus more on the shot feet per second than I would the size myself. That's everything to me, is feet per second. Because, I mean, when we first started shooting steel, we were shooting really slow loads. This was when lead was actually banned. And man, that first year or so, we had the worst problem wounding mallard. And then my dad started hand reloading. He did a lot of research and started reloading himself. We got the speeds up there by about 150 feet per second, and the problem went away. So I'm all about feet per second. I won't touch anything under 1400. Well, anything that's steel, I won't shoot anything steel that's under 1400. And I don't even want to do 1400. I want 15, 15, 50. So at 1450 is not the end of the world.
Yeah, and with Boss, we were shooting 1350 across the board.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, and that's just a totally different animal.
Yeah. I mean, your velocity is going to probably be higher on the 1350 at the point of impact than with steel. So.
And they claim, what's the main guy at Boss's name? I can never remember his name.
Yeah, Brandon.
He claims that your non-steel, like the bismuth and whatever, they hold their velocity longer than steel does.
I mean, that makes sense, right?
Heavier. Heavier things hold their velocity longer. or math.
I mean,
Football
science checks out.
Yeah. You can throw a baseball farther than you can throw a wiffle ball, and that's strictly because of weight, right?
Yep.
With
Same.
the same exact force.
Yep. It'd be same muzzle speed, right? Coming out of your hand.
Yeah.
Either one.
Mm-hmm. So you don't need it as fast as you do steel.
Hanson asks, favorite duck to eat? I would say for me it's a wood duck. Elliot's never had one though, so he wouldn't know.
I have, but I have never eaten one. Be like, I'm eating a wood duck now. Anytime we've shot a wood duck, it's just like mixed into the bag, you know.
Yeah. It's like
the thing I love about steel is they're almost bite-sized. It's just like breath. I mean, it's just perfect.
Yeah, one of my first really good duck meals was teal, and I'll say that because I just didn't know how to cook it early on. And then one of the years, I remember I put it in a pan, chopped it up, like cubed it up, put a little oil with it, and then put it on a bed of rice. And it was just, I didn't overcook it, just had little chunks, bed of rice, blueing teal in early season. It was great.
Yeah, blueing teal is delicious. And you can't go wrong with a big old juicy mallard. I think all puddle ducks, to me, I can't tell the difference between puddle ducks. I know people say that if shovelers get eaten, if they're eaten in sewer ponds and whatnot, then I can see how, whatever. But I just can't tell the difference between one puddle duck to the next.
Awesome.
I'm ready whenever you are.
I am too. Okay. Alrighty, fellas. We're about to jump live into the recording, so thanks for tuning in and enjoy the show.
Hey guys, I'm Jordan Fromer. I believe in hunting hard, hunting smart, and having a fun time while doing it. And shooting limits, well, that's just the icing on the cake. I revel in the journey just as much as the successes it brings. From ducks to dogs to decoys and guns, we'll be talking tactics, strategies, and what it takes to get the job done. Load up and take aim. This is the Duck Gun Podcast.
What's going on, folks? Thanks for joining me on another episode of the Duck Gun Podcast. I'm Jordan from Ducks Gun Chronicles. Got my co-host alongside me, the grayest of gray beards, Elliot from Freelance Duck Hunting, and I did not butcher your name, not even a little bit tonight. How you doing tonight, Elliot?
I'm doing good. That was really well done. I can't really make fun of you about it anymore since you unloaded I used to have a speech impediment thing. It made me feel sad for you last week when you said that. I was like, wow. No more teasing poor Jordan about that, right?
Yeah, man, I was bullied about it my whole life, and here I am just getting plastered by you every week. It was rough.
So a running theme for us lately we've been talking about is TikTok. And so as I was saying I'm kind of pissed off at you because you have pushed me into TikTok, and now the amount of time that I'm spending on that stupid app looking at things that are funnier than ever is I'm going to end up getting a divorce because of you in TikTok.
Well, let's hope it doesn't go that far. Let's hope it doesn't go. We'll have to do a review. We'll have to do a review on our brownie point system that we put out a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, TikTok. Well, my wife, she's doing her illustration. She doesn't care what I'm doing. I'm on one couch, she's on the other. She doesn't care what I'm doing over there. Except she's like, put your headphones in. I've heard that same TikTok song like 1,000 times.
Yeah. Are they like stuck in your head yet?
Yeah.
They are. It's ridiculous.
You know what? The most annoying one is stuck in my head. It's that boner alert one. I hate that one. Matt did it, and it's stuck in my head.
Yeah.
Like, oh. I would not use that. I would not make that into a video. I know Matt did, and it was funny, but I wouldn't. I wouldn't.
There's some. I do try to keep mine like clean too. As far as like that. And same with like, I mean, each their own on that. Like if you want to do that, I'm not like calling out Matt or anything. Like it's a funny video. Yeah. But even like with cussing and all that, like I try to stray away from those type of TikToks. But there's some that are on there that are funny that have that kind of stuff, and I'm like, oh, well, I can't use that.
I will say it is bar none the most entertaining social media app that I've ever seen. It is. It makes Instagram seem like sitting in an algebra class.
That's a good one.
I don't even know how to go. I mean, it's so entertaining, man.
Yeah.
And there's more and more and more waterfowl content on there recently. Did you notice that? It's all over now.
Oh yeah, I think people are getting back into it. I've even seen like on my own content. I was telling you this before. This like I haven't been able to post as much this week, but even without that, like my content's just been like exploding on there. So, like you said, it's everything. Everybody's thinking about waterfowl, so everybody's posting more on there. So yeah, it's cool. I hope that the TikTok waterfowl community just keeps growing. I love to see more and more waterfowlers on there. And I hope that us talking about it to our audience can be a catalyst to get, more and more, a bigger TikTok waterfowl community. Because like you said, I love seeing that.
Yeah, me too. I mean, mine's not growing like yours, but I'm actually starting to get it and understand it a little bit. My TikToks still aren't to your level, but at least I'm understanding the system more so than I did before.
Yeah, that's awesome. But kind of talking about the brownie points that we're talking, I got an email. I haven't even told you this yet. So I'm going to, every once in a while we get emails about our podcast, usually for good reasons. But I'm going to read this one to you. So we had one from someone called Hillary, and the subject is reaction to how to keep your girl happy during duck season. So that's the episode we did a couple weeks back about keeping your girlfriend, wife, whatever it is, happy during duck season. So starts off, hi, Jordan. On a recent road trip with my husband, we were listening to your Duck Gun podcast. When I first heard the subject announced, how to keep your girl happy, I had two initial thoughts. First was, maybe they're talking about their female duck dogs. My second was, if they're talking about their wife's girlfriend, this could get interesting. I have to admit my bias up front that I was worried I'd hear some sexist, offensive commentary about how to manipulate the females in your life. I am a female hunter, so I've heard my share of disparaging remarks about wives and girlfriends, the old ball and chain, air quotes, act, even from some of my own friends and hunting partners. I was so happy to hear the conversation that followed. My husband and I waterfowl hunt together a lot. I grew up hunting, and my dad was one of the most old school types. He was going to hunt no matter what anyone told him or how many brownie points he had. I will brag about him, though. He raised 4 hunters, 2 male and 2 female. He never treated any of us different and gave us the same opportunities to get out in the field. Anyhow, I absolutely love the episode and the rest of the ones we listened to. I think we listened 4 in all. I have a baby now, so our seasons will look a little different since we can't both hunt at the same time, but we do the same things as you guys talk about. Make time for each other when we know we're going to be gone all day. Building up the brownie points, taking turns, act. Just wanted to say great job and way to promote wonderful message about balancing life and outdoor passions. So I thought that was
awesome.
That was a cool response to hear about what we had to say.
Yeah, I mean, there are certain times when, I know you get it and I get it too, where people reach out and message us. And sometimes it's just asking a question about this, sometimes they're asking questions about that. But every now and then, someone takes the time and sends the most meaningful, thoughtful message that really, really touches you. It's like, oh man, that makes me feel so good that you would say something like that. And I think for me, I'm sure you brought up something, that's one of those. Like, it makes me feel so good to think about some wife and her husband sitting there and her worried about, the crap we're going to say. And we did women justice in that episode. And that was awesome. Thank you for sharing that. It's cool.
Yeah.
Super cool.
Shout out to Hillary. I hope you guys have a good season this year.
Yeah. Thank you, Hillary. And if you guys ever want to reach out to Jordan and I and say, hey, and we can be reached on multiple different social media outlets. And I personally, I love hearing from people, and I respond to all of them. Some of them I don't. Some of them are shorter responses than others, but I always. Every now and then one slips through the crack, but I like hearing from people.
Yeah.
And talking to them.
Yeah.
So
definitely agree.
So Jordan, I don't know if I should. Every now and then, I like to just share some personal stuff that I find funny that isn't really waterfowl hunting related, and so this is kind of a good polar opposite of what you just shared. So
okay, go for it.
I'm going to share with you a text that my mom sent my son. Okay. And I just want your reaction to this text, okay? Because my son got this text out of the blue. He had no reference at all. My son's name is Nevin. And she says, Nevin, I really have a phone problem. I was doing some research about some elite people like the Clintons who have been accused of hurting children. Somehow it got me connected to some very evil people through my calendar who are messaging me sometimes, even hourly, about horrible things. And those horrible things were sexual things. I'll add in there myself. I cannot get rid of them, and it is so disgusting. Have you ever heard of such a thing, and how in the world can I get rid of it? I will try asking YouTube. What's your reaction to that text?
I'd be scared.
She's researching the Clintons. Have you ever heard the whole Q theory thing?
The what? Oh.
The Q theory?
Yeah.
Okay. It's really... So my mom was doing some research on Q, which I actually watched a 10-part documentary series on it as well. And I'm not like, oh, I'm a big Q guy. I'm not. But it's whether it's fictional or not, it's interesting. And so my mom gets researching the Clintons, and somehow she attaches her email calendar to like some kind of like sex group or something, and she's getting like sexual invites all the time on her phone. It's like set on her calendar of like these events. So she emails my son that. I think that's funny enough to share.
Yeah, that's definitely funny. But I wouldn't want to help get rid of that, I guess.
Those damn Clintons, man. You know, a couple searches, the next thing you know, on your Google calendars is all sorts of escapade groups.
Yeah, your drive might get deleted or something with all your emails. Who knows?
Yeah. Oh. I don't know if you ever helped her with that or not. I think you got it figured out.
Nice. Well, should we jump into the topic for the week?
Yeah, let's do it.
Awesome. All right, guys. Our topic for the week is gonna be our hunts we have planned out for the year. So we got all the hunts planned out, or I guess this will be what would be in a perfect world. Maybe not perfect, but we're reaching, we're stretching, and we're burning all our brownie points in the first couple months. So we're gonna go ahead and share those with you. But before we do that, let's take a quick word or quick break and jump to our partners. So first off, I'd like to give a big thanks out to our partners from HDR Innovations. Guys, we are doing the promotion for the gun stand for the full month of July. I know that some of you guys have actually gone out and purchased because I recognize you guys from the podcast and YouTube channel and all that. And then, I've seen that you guys have purchased it. So awesome. Cool to see that. Cool to see pictures of you guys posting up and Fellowship the Duck Gun. But the HTR gun stand is a marsh stand. It's aluminum, super lightweight. Honestly, like mind-blowingly light. You stick it in the mud. It keeps your gun out of the water. This year we've added accessory points where you can clip on your blind bag, your game strap, keep everything out of the water that way as well. Put your box of shell right next to your gun. But it's just your all-in-one solution to keep everything out of the water. We got them in mallard green and marsh grass tan. And so, like I said, they're something that you're not going to want to hunt without if you're hunting out there in the marsh, standing in the water. Use code DuckGun10 at checkout for 10% off.
Have you guys ever thought about making a dog stand at HDR?
We get that question all the time. That's crazy. We literally get that question all the time.
Well, it seems like with the products you guys make that you could probably, I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, I need a new dog stand. The one that Titus left me by accident broke, so hopefully he won't ask for it back. Hopefully he's not listening. It's broken. Gunner Kennels, you guys have heard us talk about it a lot, and just cannot. We're going to keep stressing it. Your dog is something that you should keep safe, and most of us keep our dogs in the back of a truck in a kennel, and that kennel needs to be strong, and it needs to be strapped in. And so for most of my dog hunting life, I've just had a little plastic Walmart cheapie. If anything really happens, man, that dog's gonna die if you get into a wreck. And you want to give your dog the best possible safety measures you can. You buy one Gunner Kennel, it's gonna be the only one you ever buy because it's not gonna fall apart. So go to Gunner Kennels. The product code is capital D Duck Gun, capital G no space, and then a space and 10 for 10% off. It is worth it. Go take a look at it and keep that dog safe. Get it done. It's worth it.
Awesome. Also, we'd like to give a big thanks out to Motion Duck Decoy Spreader. They are one of our newest partners for the podcast. We had them on last year as well. You guys have seen them. Me and Elliot loved using their product all last year. They have the ultimate spreader and then the regular spreader. It is a jerk rig on steroids. The ultimate spreader, you can put 7 ducks on it. You use it just like a jerk rig, except for it has something similar to like tent posts that push your ducks out in your spread. And when you pull it, the ducks just go back and forth in a super lifelike motion. If you haven't seen it, definitely check out a video of it. When you see the video, you'll be sold. It just looks so much more realistic than a jerk rig. And it breaks down in a minute, maybe less. And then you just sling it over your shoulder and you're walking out. So super mobile. And when you get it out in your spread, the best motion you can get from something similar to a jerk rig, just way better. So definitely check those guys out as well and use code DuckGun2020 at checkout. And you'll get 10% off over there as well.
And lastly, I want to talk about Banded, Avery, and GHG, 3 companies that are all under the same umbrella, and they are also partners with us. As you guys know, Jordan and I both switched over to the breathables last year and absolutely loved them. In fact, I had a close friend contact me and wanted to ask me about it. Should he get them? Should he not get them? And anytime, even off air, people ask, like, yeah. I mean, my experience with waders is eventually you're going to get leaks in all of them. You just are. But these waders for me held up better than any of the neoprene that I had. I've been going through about a pair of waders every 13 hunts was kind of what I've been doing for the last 6, 7, 8 years. And so I made it through. The Bandits just did better. They did better than the neoprene. They just did. And they're easy. If you do get a leak, they're easy to find where the leak is, and then you can patch them up more easily. So I would definitely suggest you guys switch over to that banded.com. You can access all 3 of those Avery and G. Obviously, they've got hundreds and hundreds of products, and they got a new line coming out. So go check it out.
Awesome. Also, we'd like to give a big thanks out to Finisher, Adrenaline. You can find all their products easily on the internet. The Finisher, if you guys aren't familiar with it, is a little device that's used to finish off your bird. You don't have to struggle with wringing its neck or trying to do the crazy Cajun crunch. There's just a small learning curve figuring out how to use it right, but once you figure it out, you just slip it in the back of their head and finish off your bird. It protects them from mounting. It's the most quick and efficient and ethical way to finish off your bird. And as hunters, we definitely need to take the prey that we are going after. Their lives are important, and doing it the right way is important as well. So definitely check them out. He's got all different types of birds painted on the Finishers. Super nifty tool. So definitely check those guys out as well. Duck Gun 15 for 15% off over on their website. And then lastly, guys, we'd like to give a big thanks out to you guys, the listeners of the podcast. Really appreciate you guys tuning in with us week in, week out. Definitely cool coming into the end of July, into August now. And, a large portion of our audience coming back alive, getting more ready for waterfowl season. So just want you guys to know that we're here, still pumping out the content now that you're thinking about waterfowl season again. So appreciate you guys tuning in with us. So like I said, we're going to jump in and talk about our hunting trips for the year. You ready, Elliot?
I'm ready, man. You asked me today, you're like, have you written out your calendar? Yep. Man, I'd say early mid-July is when I typically I always use Google Calendars for everything. And so I go through there and I put on days of work in which I don't have school and which weekend, where I think I'm going to go at which times. And it's just another way to just daydream about waterfowl hunting. It's like the same thing with Freelance Hunt Stats. It's like people are like, I'm not a numbers guy. It's like, not about being a numbers guy. It's about being able to daydream about waterfowl. And it's the same thing with making the calendar for me. It's like, oh, this weekend I'm going here, and that weekend I'm going there, And that doesn't always get followed, but
yeah,
it's certainly done and ready to go.
Yeah. So, I mean, we put together, it's like, it's borderline dream, but also it's realistic because we know what we do, which is make a lot of waterfowl content. So this is like our tentative plans for what we would like to see happen. I would say going through the first 3 quarters of the season. So it's pretty hard to see out beyond that. So, yeah. So, I guess let's take turns and start with like September. Go ahead.
All right. Well, being an educator, I don't know when I'm going back to work yet. In the state of Kansas, it's kind of a mess because the governor said, well, we're not going to school after Labor Day, but she doesn't have the executive power to do that. So they voted on it today, and it was a 5-5 split. So here we are at the end of July, and I don't even know if and when I'm going back to school. And so that makes a big difference for my calendar. So my calendar is written in as though I will actually be teaching and be at school.
So wait, was that vote to be into September or be later, like the 5-5 split?
The vote. Well, when this whole COVID thing started, the governor, she was like Kansas was like one of the first states where she's like, no school until the end of the year. We're just done. And so she's a Democrat. Well, the Republicans were like, oh, too much power for her. So they made an order saying, okay, the governor doesn't have that much power anymore. The school board has to vote on it. So she came out and said, we don't want to start schools until after Labor Day at the earliest. And so the school board then voted on it, and it was a 5-5 split. So that means that her order does not register. So, but she wants, all they've said is after Labor Day. So I'm guessing that means like to reevaluate it. I don't know.
So it could be earlier, it could be later?
No. At this point, yeah, because her order didn't go through. She did not want it to start until after Labor Day being the 7th of September. So I think the idea was they were going to maybe try to start it on the 9th of September, which actually for my hunting, that's worst case scenario because like I get 10 days off with my district and they're not sick days. I can just take them whenever I want. And so they're not going to ask me why I'm taking them. You have 10 days, take them how you want to take them. And so if we start in August, then I've already had 3 or 4 or 5 weeks of school before hunting season starts. And that's a much better scenario for me. So for example, because even on my calendar, I even mark, okay, I think I'm going to take this day off here. Well, the first day that I had set to take off was Friday the 11th because our Kansas Teal opener is on the 12th, so I was going to take Friday off. Well, if we start school September 9th, I can't take the 3rd day of school off. I just can't. I mean, I could, but ethically, to do my job properly, I can't be like, 2 days of school going hunting. It's just not right. So it kind of screws me up in that way to where my September days off that I want to take, I would rather it start to get regular and then we get off at Thanksgiving or something like that. But yeah, so September. So this calendar for me is like assuming I'm at school. So September 1 is the opener of dove season, and so I don't have anything marked down for that. I don't have any dove spots around where I'm at. If I lived where I grew up, I would be going out dove hunting the 1st of September probably. But I just don't have any spots around here. And if you live in the greater northeastern Kansas area and you want to take me on a dove hunt September 1st, feel free to reach out to me. If I had a great opportunity, I'd go and do it and get Georgia on our first hunt. But I've got slated the 5th of September. That is the Nebraska teal opener. And so right now I have on my calendar going up to Nebraska and hunting the 5th and the 6th. And then I've got off school because it's Labor Day on the 7th. But I have not made any contacts with anyone up there. I've got a couple of options of who I could contact. Haven't done it because part of me is like, well, I mean, I could go out west. I could just scout. Normally that weekend, we just scout. And that's normally why I don't dove hunt because when it comes to teal season, I want to do a lot of scouting the week before because the scouting I do the week before covers my scouting for the rest of the year. I've got so many places I need to scout. I need to see what's the vegetation like, just get an idea to how everything's looking. And if I don't do that, then it really makes it difficult later on in the season if I'm going to just blind hunt someplace and I've never laid eyes on it at all in the fall. It makes it a lot more difficult. So
what Elliot's saying is if you live in Nebraska and you have a really good teal hunt lined up for that weekend, give him a call. Hit him up on Instagram. He might come.
If you if you teal hunt on the eastern side of Nebraska, eastern, southeastern, where it's not that far, I would be much more likely to go than like a 3 or 4 hour trip. But I don't know, because that brings a lot of problems. Like, do I take Georgie on that with strangers? Do I just take her and only work? Because that's gonna be her first hunt. What do I do with Georgie in that? Should I try to get her on a dove hunt and do it that way? I could go back west on someone else's property and do a dove hunt around, with Aiden. I could do something like that.
Yeah, I think doves aren't as easy as ducks for dogs, to be honest.
Well, no, and they're really feathery, which dogs. But I mean, Georgie has already experienced the feathery with pigeons, so I think she could do it, and she would be fine with it. But I would much rather be shooting teal in Nebraska than I would.
Yeah.
But I mean, if my school is starting the 9th, let's say, and then I hunt that first weekend, and I'm road tripping, and then I just have like the beginning of the school year to be going on a big road trip and not getting much sleep and hitting that first day of work would be a rough one too. So I haven't fully decided on that. Then that next weekend is the Kansas teal opener. So I will probably 90% chance be going out west to central western Kansas for that, where we always normally go. Then the second weekend of teal season, I'll probably hunt here at home, and then the third weekend of teal season, I plan to go back out west. So for teal season, I could either hunt somewhere between 5 and 9 times, because now I've got this new teal place. I don't know if you've probably seen the videos where I've been doing so much scouting this year. There's a place 15 minutes from the house that I've just now worried about since I moved. And if that place has good teal, then I could even do that after school sometime. So normally I get in 5 teal. It might be able to do me 9 this year.
Awesome. Does that wrap up your September?
That wraps up my September, and I'm hoping for a 4-bird average during teal season. If I could do a 4-bird average and shoot high 60% wise, I'd be thrilled.
I'm just hoping to shoot 4 teal.
Well, just think, if I run on 7 hunts and I average 4 birds a hunt,
that's crazy.
28 birds at the end of September.
Yep.
And that's not that unreasonable to think about, because right now, last year I pissed and moaned about the conditions and the lack of habitat. Well, this off season could not have played out any better for Kansas food production. I mean, it is just perfect. So it's going to be a good year, and we could always get last second floods that ruin it all. But I mean, if you ask what's the perfect scenario for the state as far as duck production, it has happened.
Nice. All right. Real quick, big thanks to the Alaskan Viking with the super chat there. I will say I'm saving up every super chat you send me for my ticket out to Alaska to hunt with you. I'm assuming that I get an invite.
Only $8 away from a duck sketch.
Yeah. Alrighty. So my September, again, so Michigan opens up September 1st. If I can find, it's getting harder and there's so many days I want to take off. That's the problem. And I just don't have an infinite number of days to take off. If I did, I would have so many more cool hunting trips, but I shouldn't complain at all. But Michigan.
No, you shouldn't, because you get to work, you get to hunt. Your whole work crew goes and hunts all the time. How many? You're so blessed.
Yeah. Okay. But it's different.
I understand.
It's different. I know. I mean, you are right. I love that part of my job. I love a lot of parts of my job. So definitely. But anyway, so September 1st, Michigan teal opener. I'm going to try to find a way to hunt teal in Michigan September 1st. I got some spots in mind. I'm just going to have to do some scouting here and try to find some that are within an hour away from work, and just make sure that I can be in by I don't know, just a couple hours late or something. That would be a dream. So I'm going to try to do that. But then, like I said, Michigan teal opens up September 1st. So that first weekend, September 5th, I'm hoping to get up on some teal up in Michigan, and then, or local geese, because I've gone out with Kevin's in the past with the early goose season. So those are my options there. And then it's not too long after that we get our Indiana season. So I'll just split teal and goose, whatever I can get scouted and find for the majority of just September. All the way up till the last weekend. The last weekend of September is actually Michigan North Zone opener up in UP. UP, Michigan opens up September 26th for Big Duck, which is awesome. And it's on like the same latitude, longitude as like South Dakota. So it's way up.
What's the date on that?
The 26th. So it's way up there. You know, as far as, you know, up north. So it opens up super early. Like I thought that was crazy that you could go shoot big ducks that weekend. But I'm hoping to get on that. Been talking to Zach Outdoors. He's one of our he's up in the chat right now actually. So hoping
long time viewer.
Long time, yep. So hoping you've been talking to him. We'll probably connect at least on one hunt during that time since he's up there. Way up there up in Michigan. So that's the inaugural chasing the opener hunt that I start, and then every weekend after that, you know, I follow the openers. So then we got our Central opener last year, which was a blast last year. Me and Swamp Man went up to Central Michigan and got on. We shot our limit the first day. We shot some good birds. The second day we had to leave pretty quick though, or else we would have definitely had some better, you know, better hunt that day if we would have been able to stay out longer.
On the second day?
Yeah, on the second day. The first time we shot.
How many did you end up shooting on that second day?
We shot 5.
I asked because I just a couple days ago finished my review video of your Michigan opener duck hunt. I really enjoyed that. The first day, I finished the first day, and on the end of it, it's like part 2 coming soon, and I was curious how you guys did. So.
Yeah, no,
I really enjoyed that video.
That was a lot of fun. So I'm really looking forward to that Central Zone opener. But actually, I guess I'm going past my September, so I'll go through my October, then I'll pass it back to you. So yeah, we got Central.
A couple questions.
Okay, go ahead.
What is the teal season in Michigan? Do they have? Because I know in Indiana, do you have a teal season in Indiana?
We do, but it's like 2 weeks and a weekend, and like
it's not very good.
I haven't found anywhere that really has good teal populations to hunt.
Yeah.
I mean, I know places where I can go shoot a couple, but I want to try to find places where I can shoot limits. You know.
Yeah. So what is it like in Michigan?
It's very similar. You just got to get closer to the flyways, I think. You know, I've heard the same from people around there, but I mean, I know where I hunted around the areas where I hunted last year, there's a lot of guys that talk to that see a lot of teal and have limits. It's not like the Central Flyway, but it's like the opening day of season, maybe the opening 2 days of season. There's people who shoot limits if you know where to go, if you're doing your scouting. But after that, it definitely falls off hard. But even then, like, I know I didn't go teal hunting till I think the 3rd weekend of Michigan opener, and we went out there and we saw teal. We just nobody had scouted to find where the teal were. It was just like, we're going to this spot, and then we hunted that spot, and then we had some teal show up. But if we were able to get to where we saw the birds going, you know, and part of that was just equipment. We just had kayaks there, and it was a big marsh, and we just physically couldn't get to where the birds were without, you know.
Now, do you that pool that you and Swamp Man hunted on Michigan opener, would that be a decent teal hole or a possibility as one of the places?
That would be a good one. The problem is if it's 4 hours away, you know, how do you scout it? So
yeah,
you just have to go.
I really liked that pool. It's a really cool place.
Yeah, it was. You just have to go for it.
Yeah. The thing about teal, my feelings about teal have changed. And when we used to hunt blue-winged teal 15, 20 years ago, I liked it, but it wasn't a decoying sport. It was a pass shooting sport. And that was back when we were using mallard decoys, pulling mallard calls, and no spinner. And since you can use spinners, and some guys will say that spinners is the only reason. And I absolutely do not believe that at all. I think it's a combination. I know that teal love spinners. I know that they do. But I've got plenty of video of watching a teal stuck into a spinner, but still be a passing shot. I've seen lots of early season teal videos on YouTube of people with spinners out only shooting passing shots. So it has evolved now with teal decoys and teal calls and spinners to be a decoying sport. And so my love for teal hunting has skyrocketed since it's just so much better. And in the central flyway, Nebraska, Kansas, I can't really speak for Oklahoma, but I'm assuming Oklahoma. It's hard for me to fathom the teal hunting year in and year out any better than these places.
Well, Texas is
lots
definitely
of birds.
Texas is known too for having crazy teal seasons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wonder if the Central Flyway is the best teal hunting flyway.
Well, I don't think they have the teal seasons like I know Titus doesn't have an early teal season in California.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they don't have teal seasons out there on the Pacific Flyway at all. I think it's more of like a Central Flyway thing, and we have it out here on the Mississippi Flyway. But one thing that I really wish that Indiana would do is take from some of these other states that have done it, like Tennessee and Kentucky, where they have a wood duck and teal season.
Yeah, I wish my side of the state is not as good as the central part of the state, and so I wish the same thing here, because I've been on plenty of teal hunts on this side of the state where you could have shot 3 or 4 wood ducks and maybe only shot 1 teal. So, and they've actually talked about it in Kansas as well. That would certainly be a good addition. So, do you think Indiana might ever adopt that?
I hope so, but I have no idea if it's in the works. I kind of doubt it, but the only states that currently have it that I know of are Tennessee, Kentucky. I mean, those are right under me. And then also Florida has it, which is on the Atlantic Flyway. So I just think, like with wood duck, we only have like a really good two weeks with them usually, in the first thin ice that we get, and they're just gone, gone.
Yeah.
So it's like,
yeah.
I mean, that's almost the same as a blue-winged teal, just a little bit worse. So I guess it's a lot.
You might think about looking into who in your state puts together the bag limits and reach out to them and just start a conversation.
Yeah.
Wouldn't hurt.
No, it wouldn't hurt.
Oh, I wouldn't mind doing that here in this state too, because I never knew they talked about it until I found out someone told me that they had. I didn't even know it was on the table.
Yeah. And I actually hunted in Kentucky, and I was hoping to shoot wood duck. And we went out there for 2 days, and all I shot was teal. So,
yeah. Why do you think that a little bit off topic, but why do you think the wood duck limit is so low when it seems like there's so many of them?
I don't know. I mean, they don't do an aerial count for wood duck the same way they do everything else.
Yeah. So maybe they just don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I'm not complaining, because it seems like when you go on a wood duck hunt, you have a really good hunt.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm happy with that 3-bird where it's at. So I don't know. I guess if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, well, before I get into October, I do want to say about this schedule. I mean, you have to travel a little farther forth than I do, Jordan. But when you have an early teal season, so which for me, if I go to Nebraska, it starts on the very first weekend of September. From September to the 3rd week of February, September, October, November, December, January, that's 6 months. There is one weekend that I can't just drive 2 hours and have hunting. And that weekend would be in October. Excuse me. And that would still be early zone youth hunt. So if I have a kid, I can still hunt on that weekend. So, I mean, that's 6 months. 6 months of chasing. That's a long time. And the cool thing, the thing I love about this state so much, that I used to think I'd love to live in the Dakotas, but I've since decided I would not like that. The reason I wouldn't like it is because I think up there, they constantly have the feeling of, oh no, the birds are going to leave. It's like, right when we get a cold front, it's like every cold front I just am in love with, because the thought of more birds. If you're up in North Dakota or Canada, or even like, Phil Conkey talks about up in South Dakota, you're going to be constantly paranoid about the birds leaving. Where if you're a little farther south, you're constantly seeing them. I mean, the birds never get all the way south of us here completely. I mean, maybe in your area, if you get 8 to 10 inches of snow, then that might. But as soon as that snow melts, they're right back. And so we have the opportunity in September to see first. the first couple weeks is basically all blue wings. Then the third week you start getting a little more mix of green wings in, and then the low season opener, it's blues and greens, and pintails and widgeons, and then the gadwalls and mallards start coming, and and then they start fading out, and it turns to all mallards, and the Canada geese start coming. I mean, you get to experience the entire progression of the migration. And I'm an avid bird lover. I love the songbirds. I love identifying birds. I got a checklist. So if I see a new bird, I check it off my list. So for me, just watching the weather, seeing all these different species coming through at different times, and then getting to hunt and harvest them from September clear up through, late January. Okay, now they're coming back. Now there's pintails back. It's truly, truly amazing to be able to experience it on that level. And Jordan, you and I are both lucky enough that, and you're a little unfortunate because in the end it's like mallards and you don't get to see the multi-species migration. But if you're going out at least once every week, then you're fully experiencing it. And it's just a true blessing to experience the migration on that type of a level.
Yeah.
So I guess I should go into October now. I'm just so amazed, especially at this time of the year when there's no ducks around, to start thinking about it. It's just awesome. So October, so the last weekend of Kansas teal season is the 26th, 27th. And then we've got that weekend off to where you could go youth hunt if you wanted to, if you have a kid. Then the earliest zone in Kansas opens up on the 10th. So we're going back to where basically the area that I grew up. When I say I'm going west, I'm going back to where I grew up. And that's where we're hunting the prairie marshes. And the prairie marshes are just so cool. So such amazing environment. And you've heard me talk about them, and Jordan, you've had a chance to experience them. It's just a neat environment. And so I've got 2 hunts that weekend. Then the weekend of the 17th, I will probably take that weekend off, and we celebrate kids' birthdays that weekend. Then the weekend after that is the youth opener here locally, and I will either take little Penny out for her first youth hunt, or I might do like a one-night trip back west where I leave Friday night, put up the bivvy Saturday, and then come rushing back. And that puts me clear up until the end of October. So October, I'm only looking at having 4 hunts, only 4 hunts in October. October, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 7, somewhere between 5 and 7, but probably only 4 in October, just because I can only travel on the weekends and camp so many weekends. I mean, I can only realistically be away from my family so many times. So I've got, maybe a couple weekend trips. My first sketch of my calendar was like 5 out of 6 weeks out. So I think that's going to be a little bit much. But
yeah.
So October is a very, very special time because I'm prairie marsh hunting, and that's when the pintails start rolling in. And we don't shoot a bunch of them. If I can shoot one during that time, I'll be happy. And widgeon, and so I love the month of October.
Yeah, I'd be happy if I could shoot just one too.
Mm-hmm. You got to kill them when you see them. You've had enough opportunities now that
Yeah, two's all you need, right? Two opportunities.
How many would you say I should have killed that shot?
I legitimately could have killed 3 at this point. So
0 for 3.
Just to go for them. So first one, okay. I was standing outside of my blind. Everybody else we're like changing the decoys or something. But I was standing next to the blind. And literally, this pintail, this giant, fully plumed January pintail, just cups his wings in and starts gliding in. And I'm just looking at it, and I'm like 5 feet away from the blind, and I just look at it, and it gets about to like 30 yards, and then it flares off, and like I could have just like stepped over real quick and grabbed my gun and took a shot, but like I was just like in awe, and I just froze and didn't even go for my gun. So that was the first opportunity I ever had. Again, if we're just in the blind, like that thing would have finished and somebody would have got him. But everybody was out changing decoys. So that's the first pintail I ever had work. The second one, on that same hunt, we had a group come over us at like 25 yards,
and it was like a passing shot. And we stood up and took it right over top, and my gun jammed on the second shot. I had one shot at it. I missed. My gun jammed on the second shot. That was the only jam up I had of the whole hunt. Was on
my God.
On that pintail from ice. So those are my two. Third pintail I had a chance at. Kansas, hunting with Josh from Outdoor Limits. And we have that pair come in. Again, it was probably 25, 30 yards. So these aren't chip shots. They're like stretching it a little bit. And I take the first shot, and I watched on shot cam. I clearly missed. I was like left, and I was low and left, low and in front of it, just a tad. And I missed. And it was close to hitting it. And I'd already limited out in redheads, and the sun was just setting. So you know how like the sun comes right over the edge and it's super orange. Well, it's hitting the bird in a way that it made it look like it was a redhead. Like it legitimately looked kind of funny. But I thought it was
that coloration on their heads is a little bit iridescent.
Yeah, and when the sun hit it like that, so Josh was like, it's a redhead, it's a redhead, it's a redhead. And so I stopped shooting. But the whole time I stopped shooting, I was like, it was a pintail, it was a pintail. And it didn't have a sprig. That's the other thing. It didn't have a sprig. So those are my 3 opportunities. I would not say any of those are great opportunities. It's not like I've gone 0 for 3 on a 15-yard decoying pintail or something like that.
Yeah. Probably you're unlucky at that you, if you had those same opportunities over again, I bet you it's probably above 80% chance that you kill one of those. Don't you think? Maybe more?
I don't know.
Yeah, those same opportunities over again.
I mean, so far, I'm 0 for 2 on shots, and I've, about 50% shooting rate. So I'd say,
So, my favorite really quick pintail story, because I know we're going off a little bit, but we're hunting at Cheyenne Bottoms, which is the best prairie marsh on the planet as far as being huge and feeling like you're away from everything. And my dad and I got so far back, it was like, felt like no one was around for miles. And there wasn't that many ducks working that day, but every single group it seemed like we saw sucked right in. And we were in our tiny little Carson layout boats where we were using the grass mats and just laying on our backs, and Izzy was there, and I think my dad's other dog Ebony was there. And man, I don't know if we shot our limit. I think we came really close to shooting our limit, and it was greenheads and pintails. I mean, I remember one pintail that landed off the left of my dad where he can't shoot. It was like behind him. It like landed like 5 feet from the back corner of him, and these birds were just hovering down all around us at like 10 to 15 feet, like groups of 3 here, groups of 4 there, a little pack of mallards, a little pack of pintails. And we shot 2 pintails each. And I think maybe 2 or 3, or I don't remember exactly how many mallards. I shot my first spec that day, but I can still see some of these. This was before I was filming. There's a couple of, especially one where this drake just came from behind us. And you know how their heads are they stick their heads kind of down and their wings draw back as they're just, oh my gosh, it was beautiful, beautiful blue day, and the lights were just perfect on the birds, and man, it was something else.
See those, I hear all these stories, see all these videos, and I shouldn't complain because I've had good hunts in Kansas, but I still haven't had the spectacular ones yet.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for one of those, and I know it'll come someday. That's what I'm waiting for.
Yeah. Well, the problem is we have more mediocre days than we have fantastic days. It's just, and when you come a couple hunts a year, it's just they're going to take enough hunts in there to have one happen.
Yeah.
Now, the one with you and Josh, that was a pretty awesome hunt.
It was. No, it was. It was a fantastic mixed bag. Yeah.
All right, you're October.
Okay, October. So I'm continuing on the Chasing the Michigan opener. Had the North Zone September. Then Central Zone, again, like one of our favorites from that. And then we'll be down to the South Zone of Michigan. So definitely, I'll be hopefully I'll be hunting with Kevin's again. We've been talking back and forth, so I think that I got an invite with them. Honestly, they've become some of my just good hunting buddies at this point. We hunted with so much last season, and I mean, those guys are just straight killers. They're just great at everything outdoors. So can't complain about that, hooking up with those guys and hunting with them, sharing some hunts that way. So I think that'll cover, like, we actually don't open up for 2 weekends. Like, there's the South Zone, and then I'll hunt South Zone again, most likely, of Michigan. And then our Indiana opener
for North Zone is the 24th. So going to Michigan is just huge. I actually get 4 weekends extra of big duck before Indiana opens up, and before last season, I just always waited till Indiana opened. It's just like crazy that you can just travel. I mean, not that much really. I mean, I guess most people consider like 4 hours a lot, but that's how far I have to get to like the edge of the Central Zone in Michigan. So, but for me, extending my season, I mean, yeah, it's super easy for me to do that. Like, easy decision, I should say.
Now, does Michigan have pintail?
Yeah.
More so?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about more so, but I mean, I would say the Mississippi Flyway just doesn't have as many. But, kind of going over to the Flyways a little bit more. Like, we're smack dab in the middle of the state. The Flyways kind of go and follow the Great Lakes, which just funnels the birds around us. And they kind of spread out further, further south you get. But we're, like, in line with the Great Lakes. So it seems like the Flyways kind of go the east and west of us. Pretty good. I think that's the same way for everybody in Michigan. It's better on the west and east side. And then Indiana, it's better kind of, you just obviously you just got to follow the Flyways. But yeah, so that kind of takes me to the end of October. I got one special thing planned that I don't think I have the dates nailed down, but I'm planning to have an awesome trip going out and doing an Iowa pheasant hunt. So that's a little off from the duck hunting thing, but I'm super pumped for that. One of my bucket list things is my grandpa was a huge pheasant hunter. You guys watching the live stream, you see the pheasant mount every week on the live stream. I got multiple in the basement. They're all grandpa's. So he was a huge pheasant upland hunter, and so getting a wild pheasant, getting a taste of that, definitely a bucket list for me. So that'll be in there either the end of October or beginning of November is what I'm thinking. But I got to look at the dates again. I can't remember when it is.
Sometime in October, huh?
I can't remember. When the dates are. So I'll have to look at that again. That's one thing I don't have.
Who are you? You got a connection there or something?
Yeah. Now I've been talking to Chase in Iowa.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So he creates YouTube content as well.
Awesome. Yeah. I would love to get in a pheasant hunter too. I just don't have the time for it. My schedule would open up, I would do it, but if I've got the places, I'm not going to sacrifice a waterfowl hunt for it unless my schedule opens up more. So on to November, right?
Yep.
Right now I've got 8 hunts planned, tentatively planned in November. Could actually be 9. I'm not sure. But if you count the 31st of October, so the 31st of October, that's when waterfowl hunting opens up in my zone of the state. And I absolutely hate openers around this part. There's just a lot denser population, and it's just, I can recall a couple decent openers we've had that I've enjoyed, but mostly it's just so packed in with people that it's more frustrating than it's worth. So I would like to go ahead and go out west during that weekend again, and just kind of get away. And then the second weekend of November, which would be the 7th, then I'll hunt somewhere here locally, 12th, 13th. I've got the 11th off of November, and so I could hunt that day. I could also take like a couple days off there, like the 12th and the 13th, and do some extended hunting. So if I took the 12th and 13th off, I'd have the 12th, 13th, 14th, and the 15th. So I can get in some extended hunting there. And then, but everything in November is pretty much going to be just here in my local area. And we've had some Novembers when we have good food production around me, we do really, really well because, like I said, there's a denser population of people here. So there are certain on our public wildlife areas, they're normally around lakes, and you get a couple of pools that they grow millet, smartweed, put corn in, typically milleters. They like to plant millet, but every now and then they'll put a little corn in. And they're very easy to get to. They're very easy to access. And so everyone that's just kind of the guys that hunt, and there's nothing wrong with this, but the guys that hunt, 5 to 7, 8 times in a year, they don't go out and do tons of scouting. So all they really know are these main pools. And these main pools are the duck food pools. So really quickly, what the ducks learn to do is they night feed, and then the guys go in there in the morning, and the ducks fly out, and then they come to some of these pools that are loafing pools with less food production and harder to get to, harder to find, and that's where we focus on. And so when our main pools are saturated with duck food, we tend to do really, really well at these loafing pools. So I will probably in November not leave the area. I'm hoping, because it'll be so good. And if last year we had to leave the area because of the flooding, and it just didn't work well. When the heavily hunted pools have tons of duck food, it's good. And so hopefully we'll just be pounding these marshes here locally. But with that extended trip, I still want to take a trip up there to South Dakota, Nebraska border. Now the weekend of the 14th might be a little bit early. Their peak mallard season, or their peak mallards, is somewhere between the 3rd and 4th weekend of November. So going up there a week early might be touch and go as far as being too early. And that's something you and I could talk about too, Jordan. That might actually be a closer trip for you to meet up there. I don't know what the distance is, but anyway, it's going to be a heavily hunt month. We're going to get in a lot of hunts, but probably not quite as much travel.
Nice. So does that fill out your November?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, okay, we'll jump to mine. Honestly, it feels like my season, like November in the last few years, it just dies out like pretty hard. You know, we have some really good hunts kind of with our first couple opener weeks. But then after that, we really have to hunt the migration. So, you know, as far as like cold fronts and the weather and all that, which isn't a bad thing. It's just, it just feels like a little bit harder to get on the birds. So I might try, that's probably when I'll try to do different stuff and try different places and new things. You know, just always trying to expand my game and become a better duck hunter. So, you know, it really does come down to the long game, which is, you know, broadening horizons and trying different things. So, that'll probably be a lot of my testing period. I do definitely want to make a Kansas trip again this year. So we're talking somewhere in the middle of the month, doing a Kansas trip. And I mean, you promised that if I come out that I'm going to get 5 drakes and 1 pintail. So
it can happen in November. There's still some around. I've not shot that many on this side of the state, but it has happened. Not many.
Yeah. Well,
but the one I did, the most recent one I shot, the most recent pintail I shot was in this part of the state in November.
Yeah.
And November, do you remember Moby, the
uh-huh.
hybrid farm duck? He was in November too.
Nice.
Maybe Moby's still out there. Mallard drake with pure white wings. Moby the duck.
Yeah. Could be. So
not Moby the duck, Moby duck.
So I'm hoping, you know, that'll be like rounding off my November. I really don't have a lot of stuff in November planned, you know, pretty much nothing compared to the rest of the season where it's all planned out. It's just scout here locally, trying to find birds, and then hunt with Elliot in Kansas. So that's the extent of my November. But I'll jump to December, and this is something we're both involved in. And I don't know if we've ever seen this, if anyone has ever said the official dates, but first week of December, we're having our Flyways collab where we're going to make tons of awesome collab content with all the Flyways guys. You guys know them all. So, but I'll mention them anyway. Josh, Outdoor Limits, Freelance Duck Hunting, me, Ducks Gun Chronicles, Matt, High Prairie Sportsman, Thomas from Virginia Outdoors Unlimited, and Titus from Mid Valley Mercenaries. That is the full Flyway crew. So definitely be checking out. We got some cool stuff in the works for all of that. But that's going to be our Flyway collab for the year. And yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah, it's going to be a blast. I can't wait. I'm not sure how many days I'm going to be able to get on that. I'm planning on taking the Friday off and the Monday off. But so I could hunt Monday also if I wanted. The problem is if I hunt Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then I've got to go to work on Tuesday. Oh man, it scares me that I won't be able to efficiently do my job.
You just need an extra cup of coffee. You'll be fine.
Yeah, well, drinking a lot of coffee or not drinking a lot of coffee is not a problem that I have. But
drink a cup of coffee,
quite a bit.
Cups of coffee. Take another Benadryl or not Benadryl. ibuprofen.
Yeah, well, and it's not that far away from me. That where we're meeting. It's only like an hour and 45 minutes away, maybe 2 hours. So it's not far away.
We're gonna kill it. So I'm so pumped.
Yeah, I think so too. And I'm excited because that area of the state, I used to hunt in the what would it be, mid to late 90s. I hunted quite a bit, but then I moved a little farther north, and so it's a little out of my reach now. So it's kind of exciting to go and focus. It's a pretty far of the state, different than where I live,
Awesome.
and different than where you seem too. It's
yeah.
The Flint Hills are a different beast. Beautiful.
Awesome. Well, yeah. So I mean, wrapping up the rest of December. I mean, we have our late split. I mean, that takes me to pretty much the end of our duck season. Then we have our late split, which is the last week, and Michigan has their late split duck, which is the last weekend. So, in between those two, I'll get on a couple more ducks, a couple more duck hunts, a few more duck hunts. Who knows? Maybe I'll hunt every day of the Christmas break, the duck split, the Christmas duck split. Who knows what'll happen after that? That's all the further I got planned tentatively on all that. So, you got anything else to add on that?
I really planned up until the Flyweight Collective because, with my schedule with school and everything, there's talk that they might let out at Thanksgiving, and I might have all of December and half of December, which would be a dream come true for me if that took place. But when it gets that far into it, I know I'm going to be hunting every Saturday. I'll probably have off from like the 20. At the minimal, I'll have off from the 21st of December till like the 7th of January. So, but I don't know. I don't put it on my calendar because I just don't know what days I'm going to hunt on those. I typically hunt the 22nd. I typically hunt like the 26th or 27th. But I've got so many days off. It just depends on weather patterns and how much I'm going to go. I don't know. So, and I'm not going to be traveling. It's just all at home hunting. So there's no reason for me to schedule it like the other day. So I just have to wait and see what happens.
Yep. Well, talking about our schedules just makes it seem one step closer to actually being in season. Countdown here. I think, from the day this thing's coming out, which as long as I don't screw up the scheduling or anything, this should come out the 28th of July, which puts us to 34 days. It'll be 34 days away is the beginning of waterfowl season, which I consider September 1st. So, pretty crazy.
Now, do you have anything going on in January, or you kind of don't, do you? You still have goose hunting, don't you?
Oh yeah, we have goose hunting all the way through February.
Yeah,
like
we've got full open January for duck hunting too. So, but some of that is just the southeast zone, which I'm only an hour and a half away from that. So we'll hit down the southeast zone, and I'll probably get in 5-6 duck hunts in January, and then I've got a special trip scheduled the first weekend of February down with Chad Dawson. Which I don't know if you remember him. He's a Delta guy, and we had him on one time, but the audio, I tried to do it from my uncle's lodge, and the audio was so bad we couldn't even use it. So he's invited me to go down there in February just for a straight goose hunt. So I'm excited. That'll be cool.
Awesome. Yeah. So we got our work cut out. Hopefully a lot of limits. Hopefully a lot of good hunts, good memories, and doing what we love, getting out there duck hunting.
Absolutely. It's coming fast. It's going to be here. It's right on us.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I think that's a good place to wrap this one up. So, any last words, Elliot, before we jump out of this?
Nope. For those of you that are on the live stream, we're recording a doubleheader tonight. Are we going to go ahead and keep rolling on through?
Yeah. As soon as I just clean up the outro for this podcast.
You never clean that stuff up. You always put it in there. So if you are listening, guys, find us on Facebook, Fellowship of the Duck Gun, Instagram, Ducks Gun Chronicles and Freelance Duck Hunting, TikTok, YouTube. Can I believe I almost forgot to say the YouTube channel? Definitely YouTube as well. We've got lots of cool content coming out. In fact, we should have talked about this, Jordan. The review videos are coming out now. So get on YouTube and check out all the Flyweight Collective guys, because by the time this goes on, we're going to have Flyweight Collective duck hunt review videos out on and published.
Yep. So, all right, folks, thanks for tuning in for another episode of the Duck Gun Podcast. I'm Jordan from Duck Gun Chronicles, Elliot from Freelance Duck Hunting, and we'll see you guys on the next one.
All right, YouTubers, hang on there. We got a doubleheader rolling. Our next topic we're going to hit is dove hunting. So hang in there. Jordan and I are both taking trips, and so we're doing a double record this time because I'm going to go play in the water in the hills of Missouri is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go play at have you ever been in the Ozarks before, Jordan?
To where?
Ozarks? Surely you've heard of the Ozarks.
Yeah, never. I've never been there.
Okay. Yeah, man, the Ozarks, if you've never been there, it's just fantastic.
If I can remember which one we're on. Nope. Where the heck is it? Oh. There we go. Matt, stop spamming Discord. All right, our second podcast for tonight will be dove hunting tips. So stay tuned for that one. We got a crowd in here tonight. If you guys got any questions, feel free to drop them real quick. What's up, Kevin? Almost got the boat up and running. Yeah, I guess I need to too, so I don't get 20 spam notifications ruining my podcast audio. I was this close to unfriending you. What's up, Lynn Jordan, Washington State dog trainer? All right.
I'm going to hit record again. I did a separate recording there, so I'm going to do a... You mean hit record now, or you want to do it at the same time with the audio?
We'll do it at the same time. 1, 2, 3, record. All right. And I need to pull up that outline real quick before we start recording again.
You know what? I don't think I need to stop that because I think it's going to have both those podcasts on there. I need to clear it out real quick.
Make sure you save it. Make sure you save it.
Yeah, it's already on my desktop.
Okay. Where'd you put the outline for the second one? Oh, in the topics? Okay.
Right where we always put them. Same place we always put them.
Where's that?
It's a podcast topic.
I know, I got it.
wanting to let me delete this stuff for some reason.
Alrighty, fellas. The Alaska Viking hitting up with another super chat. Thanks, man. Thanks for joining us. We'll take it easy. See you in Alaska. Yeah, we're up to what, like $14, man. I'm saving everyone for a ticket.
I started the recording.
Awesome. Yeah, I got mine going, so I'll figure it out later. Alrighty, fellas. Well, let's go ahead and jump into the next one. Glad to see everybody sticking around for the second recording. So this is going to be probably one of the longest live streams we ever done. But let's get it.
Guys, if you're on here and you haven't lightly embraced that like button, you may do that.
Hey guys, I'm Jordan Fromer. I believe in hunting hard, hunting smart, and having a fun time while doing it. And shooting limits, well, that's just the icing on the cake. I revel in the journey just as much as the successes it brings. From ducks to dogs to decoys and guns, we'll be talking tactics, strategies, and what it takes to get the job done. Load up and take aim. This is the Duck Gun Podcast.
What's going on, folks? Thanks for joining me on another episode of the Duck Gun Podcast. I'm Jordan from Ducks Gun Chronicles. Got my gray-bearded co-host, Elliot, from Freelance Duck Hunting, alongside me tonight, per usual. Trying not to be smart, Alec, but it's not working. So, you ready, Elliot?
I'm ready to roll. Let's do it.
Awesome. So our podcast topic for tonight is going to be dove hunting. So, I would say that this is not a subject that either one of us are experts on. So I guess, take it for what it is. We definitely both enjoy dove hunting, but, it's a little off from our main waterfowl topic. But we know so many of you guys consider dove hunting kind of the inaugural hunt to hunting season, the start of hunting season. For almost every place across the country, it's September 1st. And, that gets everybody into the mode of duck hunting. So what's your take on it, Elliot?
Kind of the kickoff to the fall, really. It just starts everywhere. Everyone loves it because it's like fall's here, hunting's here, smell of gunpowder, shooting at rodents with wings. I mean, shooting at doves. And I love doves. Honestly, I like to joke about calling them rats with wings because compared to a waterfowl, that's kind of how I view them. Barely better than a Tweety bird, but that
bird
being
of love.
Said, that being said, that's the way I started hunting, and I have very, very fond memories of my duck hunt. When we were doing a lot of duck hunting, we used to do lots of doves. We used to do lots of dove hunting, and I've got lots of awesome memories. I've got videos my dad shot back when I was 13, 14 years old, definitely. And they're delicious. They really are very, very delicious birds. So yeah, I'm all for it. I'm all for dove hunting. I'm team dove hunting.
Yeah. Real quick, Matt from High Prairie Sportsman, he sent me a super chat as well. So I guess I have to start my ticket fund in Nebraska now. So thanks, Matt. But that's our main topic. But before we get into that, a little bit of updates. So, guys, I made a impromptu. I actually been looking for a motor for my duck boat for a while, but I made an impromptu trip. It was right after work on Friday. Literally, I was looking on there and I found a sweet deal on a mud motor. Messaged the guy, got him down, from his original price quite a bit. And so I'm like, man, this is the one. And so I no joke, I messaged him, got home from work, and I told my wife, I'm like, all right, I think I'm going to pick up this mud motor in Ohio. So I left right after dinner, and I got back home at 2 a.m. So got a sweet 22-horse mud motor on the back of my duck boat right now. Haven't taken it out, but I can't tell you how pumped I am to have that in my arsenal this year. I mean, whether it's hunting in Indiana or Michigan, I know there's so many places, so many opportunities that's going to bring for me hunting this year.
How many times do you think, just guessing, how many hunts do you think you'll go on where you use that? You just had to guess.
I don't know. It's just like I'm even hunts where I've like kayaked in the past, like some of my late season goose hunts, all of those I would have took the boat instead of like we did stuff where like we took we accessed through farmland, drug kayaks, got to the edge, and canoed across the river, you know. And it's like, no, we can go to the boat ramp instead of like it would take us like it would take us like 40 minutes to canoe it, you know, from the launch. But in a boat, we're talking like, you know, it's definitely going to save us time. So,
that's awesome.
Yeah. Not only that, but it's just one of my things that I haven't done is we have a lot of big lakes in Indiana that are huntable. But like if you take from the boat launch, you literally just have to paddle forever around the edge of the lake, you know, and you wouldn't want to go in the deep water, especially in hunting season, like a canoe with all your gear and your dog. So now having the boat is just gonna, you know, open up a lot of opportunities. So I'm so excited for it. Here shortly, hopefully I get out and start doing some scouting with it and everything.
So when do you think you're gonna get it on the water for the first time? When you plan? You gotta get that thing out.
I was hoping this weekend, so I was buying parts for it. You know, it needed a new radiator. The throttle cable was rusted, so it was really, really sticky. I had to like change over the gas lines and everything from my old gas can. So I think I have everything that I could probably get it out this weekend. But I'll just have to play it by ear because my wife is having to work. So it's just, you know, I don't know if I'll be able to take it out in the morning with my kid or if I probably should wait before I do that unless I can get somebody to go with me. Because I don't know if I just want my kid just sitting there by herself while I'm running the motor on her first time out in the boat. Probably easier to her inaugural boat ride to be. I don't know why I keep saying inaugural today, but her first boat ride to be with somebody kind of holding her and easing her into it so she didn't freak out.
Yeah.
But you know, maybe sometime this weekend in the evening I'll be able to get it out. So I'm dying to.
Well, I'm excited. I'm excited to see you use it and get video of it. It's just such a wonderful tool to have. And, you know, there may be some years you don't use it that much. It's just like adding one more piece, one more tool to your tool belt to if a situation arises and you need it, you've got it. I mean, we've had, like with our boats, we've had some years where we only use it 2 or 3 times. We've had other years we've used it 10, 15 times. It's just having different things at your disposal to get the job done when you need to is the main thing, and that's going to open a lot of doors for you.
Yeah. It's a little mud skipper. That's the brand of it. So, I mean, it's definitely a discount mud motor, but I think for what I do, and like you said, it's not like I go every hunt into the marsh, but the times I use it throughout the year is going to get me where I need to go. It's going to be able to go through anything, and it ain't no, you know, $7,500 gator tail, which are like some of the best, but you know, I'd love to have one of those. But you know, but for what I do, this thing is gonna get the job done. A little fun little mud motor to play with. So definitely excited.
Well, you got an amazing price on it. I mean, you got an awesome deal. You got an awesome deal.
Yeah, no, I shopped around and waited kind of all season, and when I found the one I wanted, you know.
Yeah. Hold the trigger and move on, right?
Oh yeah.
Well, if you get it on the water, you got to make sure you're taking pictures. Posting.
Yeah. So yeah. You got any other updates, Elliot?
Well, I've been continuing to work with Georgie. I put out a couple of Georgie vlogs, and I'm really happy with where she's at. I'm really happy with where she's at. That being said, I think I went off script a little bit from the retrievertrainer.com program and moved ahead a little bit fast. So what I've been working on now is the land tee, which is just, you know, she sits in the middle and I send her left, right, back, right. And she does awesome on hand signals. I mean, she is totally attentive to me. I am, because she's such a high energy dog. And I'm sure you've seen the videos, but she's fast, high energy, but she can turn it off. And I keep saying, the only limitation to what this dog can do is her trainer, me. I mean, but I'm to the point now where my dad's done a lot of training, and he thinks I could enter in a season because it's like started, season, finished levels, and he's pretty sure that she could handle seasoned.
I think so
and
too.
I've never been to him. I don't know, but I'm super impressed where she's at. But I've had to go backwards on Lanty a little bit because the problem that I've had is that she's smart enough that she knows where the bumpers are. Even if I lay them out ahead of time, and I've got a big enough yard, I can do it a couple different places. And I've actually gone to a couple different parks to try to vary it. But once she goes to each pile, she kind of gets an idea how many bumpers are in that pile. So I need to go back to just make them do lots of long straights all the time, because I went back and rewatched Freddie's video on this, and I just didn't spend enough time in Lanty where I was making her go back all the way, then left and right. So what she'll do sometimes is I'm trying to send her back. She'll be like, no, I know there's a bumper there on the left. And she'll want to head on a straight line to that left bumper. And then I stop her, I bring her back, and then maybe she'll do it a second time. I'll stop her, I'll bring it back. And then on the third one, then she'll go straight out. So I need to take a step back and really hit hard the Lanty exactly how Freddie King is showing it to straighten up her lines. But other than that, I've introduced her to gunfire. I've put her in several different situations where we just went on a pond and in the kayak, and her behavior was perfect in the kayak, where I would just kind of sit around for 10 minutes and I throw her a retrieve. I've started doing some duck calling. I mean, she's ready to go. She's ready. And I really think next year, the year after that, I'd like to do some trial stuff just to experience it. But I'm convinced, like I said, her only limitation is me. But I'm trying to learn. I'm working hard, man. I'm working hard and trying to do right by her and to do right by Flatlander Kennels, because you know, they deserve me with these videos to show what kind of dog that I truly have. And her dad will be a Hall of Fame dog before it's all said and done. He just will. He's on that way. He's the fastest, one of the most athletic dogs I've ever had at Flatlander Kennels. So
awesome.
I'm having way more fun than I remember back when I was like, I wasn't into getting a dog, so I just didn't feel it in my heart. Like, those days are long gone.
Yep.
I'm loving it.
No, you're killing it too. You're doing a great job with her. So I can't wait. I've said this many times, but I can't wait to see her in season hunting with you.
Yeah. Well, hunt number 1, 2, and 3, whatever. It's like gun down. My focus is this dog. That is my focus. I don't want to get out there and just, start worrying about killing ducks. If I don't get to kill any ducks on the first couple hunts, that's fine, as long as I'm reinforcing what she's supposed to be doing and taking the time to, if she makes mistakes, do some corrections. And so it's the first 2 videos are definitely going to be Georgie centered.
Yeah, that'll be good. All right, well, let's take a quick break here and have a quick word from our partners, then we'll jump right back into the podcast. So first off, I'd like to give a big thanks out to our partners, Motion Duck Decoys. You guys have seen them on our channels last year. Elliot and I both big fans of using the Motion Duck Decoy spreader. Perfect solution for getting the ripples and the motion on the water on no-wind days or any of your hunting days. But they have 2 options. They have the ultimate decoy spreader, which has 7 ducks, or just the regular spreader that has 4. It is a jerk rig on steroids. One of the biggest concerns we have is getting enough motion that you can get the birds on the water, and they do a better job than anybody with that. Definitely check them out, and check out a video of it. If you don't believe just from the words, like a video just shows how crazy the motion you get from them and how much ripples you can put across your spread. So definitely check those guys out. Use code DuckGun2020 for 10% off of your Motion Duck Decoy spreader.
Well, it's getting really close to season, and so you need to dig down into that pocket and maybe make a couple more purchases of some off-season upgrades. And some things I would suggest getting is, if you don't have an A-frame, first of all, that needs to be top on your list. HTR Innovations has an A-frame. It also has a gun stand. It's their most popular product, and it's where you're sitting there in knee-deep water. Where do you put your gun? Where do you put the birds? And having that gun stand to free your hands up makes a world of difference to your comfort. They also have a couple other products I'll leave for you to go and look at if you haven't already heard us talk about them before. It's the 10% product code is Duck Gun. That's Duck Space Gun, capital D and capital G. American-made products, and certainly worthy of you taking a look at their products.
Awesome. I'd like to give a big thanks out to Gunner Kennels as well, a longtime partner of the podcast. Ella and I both are big fans of having our duck dogs, and Gunner Kennels is the perfect kennel to keep your dog safe from point A to point B. They are freaking tanks, double wall rotomolded. That is their patent on that. And it's 5-star crash tested. Yes, just look at the testimonials of car accidents, trucks flipped upside down, and the dog kennel still holding strong. And our dogs are investments. We love our dog, but they are definitely investments in time and money. A lot of time and work we put into our duck dogs, and there's nothing better out than the Gunner Kennel for keeping your dog safe. So definitely check them out as well. Use code DuckGun10 for 10% off your purchase of a Gunner Kennel.
All right, and also Banded, Avery, GHG, to banded.com. You can access all of those companies. I know Jordan and I have our eyes on some stuff of their new line of gear that's really, really excited about. And of course, their waders and duck decoys from GHG, and Avery has a lot of actually dog training stuff as well. So go check out Banded, Avery, and GHG at banded.com.
Awesome. Also, we'd like to give out a big thanks to another one of our newest partners, the Finisher, Adrenaline. You can check those out online as well. We've actually had Dave on our podcast before, and their product is perfect for finishing off your bird in a humane and decisive way. It's quick and painless for the bird. There's a small learning curve, just how to use it. You insert it in the back of the head and finish off the bird. You know, gone are the days of whipping the bird around and struggling to wring its neck, or using the Cajun crunch like a Neanderthal. You can just simply slip in the finisher in the back of their head. It is the best way to do it without putting the bird through undue pain, and it preserves it perfect for mounting or other things like that. So definitely check them out. Use code DuckGun15 at checkout for 15% off your next finisher. Alrighty. And lastly, big thanks to you guys, our listeners of the podcast, listeners of the live stream. We appreciate you guys tuning in week after week for some awesome podcast content. Like we said before, guys, our episode for today is going to be all over dove hunting. So let's go ahead and jump on into it.
Well, the first category we have is how much dove hunting do we do currently? So before Jordan and I do these podcasts, we sit down, we kind of come up with a kind of an order of things we want to go through, and we kind of go down the list and just kind of talk about it. So I don't remember ever seeing a dove hunt video from you. Do you do any dove hunting currently, Jordan? What's your status on that?
Yeah, I do a little bit. I put one out last season. I don't know if I've ever put one out before that. So I had one come out last season. I mean, I think for me, it's just finding the spots and all that. I think we do have dove. Last year was a pretty bad year because all we have in Indiana, we don't really have much for wheat fields and all that. So the majority of our dove hunting is going to be like cornfields. And last year, everything was super late for corn because we had a super wet spring. So there wasn't any silage cut for like dove season till like later on into September. Because once it gets further on, we're just into duck season to dove hunt for me. But that first couple weeks on weeknights, I definitely like to get out and I shoot some. I'm not shooting limits. Maybe at some point I will when I get the right places and get everything down. But that's my current status. I dove hunt at the beginning of the season a little bit, not a ton.
Well, with me, it's really situational because when I hunt doves, I really want to be hunting over water, over ponds. They go to the gravel, then they go to feed, and then the last hour and a half, 2 hours, then they go to the fields or ponds. Water. And that's why I like to hunt them. And where I live now, I just don't have any place I know of that's good. And any scouting that I'm going to go out and do, it's going to be to marshes for ducks. So if I had the places that I have back in Central Kansas, if I had them here, I would dove hunt every year at least once or twice because I love those places and they're super fun. I just don't have the places around here, and so And that weekend before teal season, I normally, that's my scouting weekend. So I wish that I could do a little more dove hunting than I do, but my mind's at that point in the season is all about scouting and figuring things out for duck hunting. So unfortunately, that means I normally don't go out. I've dove hunted 2 or 3 times in the last 5 years. I think only 2 times actually. So sometimes during teal season opener, we can get in a dove hunt. We've done that before, where we go out central Kansas and hunt teal on Saturday, and then, or maybe dove Friday night, then teal in the morning. We've done that before, but I just don't do it much currently.
Yeah, I know, like down south, like it's huge dove hunting. You think about, like, when you think about a dove hunting state, you think about like Texas, and they just smash them. And I've seen some good videos from Quack Addicts. They always put out a dove hunt video, and they're in Kentucky. But I think I definitely want to figure out the teal game, but like I said, I think it comes down to finding good places for me, and I just haven't done it yet. I know I've gone out on one draw hunt for teal, and we got a pretty good draw. We just didn't know what we were doing, and we were sitting really close to guy, literally next to him, and like I felt like every time that I was gonna be shooting his birds, so we almost never shot. And he was just over there, like literally, this guy was like a sharpshooter, and I don't think he missed all day, but it was like in the first couple hours he limited out, so it was just some old guy that was probably shooting like a 410 or something, but he never missed. So I know that you can shoot limits in Indiana. I'm not saying you can't. I'm just saying that sadly I never have.
Yeah, doves can be hard to hit, man.
I've struggled with
quick.
that.
They dodge and they're quick.
Yeah.
So what is your history? Your dove hunting history. When's the first hunt you remember going on?
Well, shoot, I mean, my duck hunting history isn't very long as well. So it was the second year. I really didn't even know. I would say I wouldn't even know about dove hunting till the year after I duck hunted. So I duck hunted, then you kind of hear about it. And so the year after that, I went to the draw, and we had no idea what we were doing. Actually, I brought my buddy Taylor with me, and we went to a draw. Like, we didn't bring seats. Like, we had no idea what we're doing. So we literally just sat on the ground. It was in a cut sunflower field, like in the rows. Everybody else is sitting on buckets, and they have like water and food and snacks. We just had nothing. We had nothing, and I had no idea. Like, it's even like I was shooting like 3.5 inch like number 2s or something stupid. Like, you can't even hit a dove with that. I had no idea at the point. So come a long way on that, but I just thought that's what I use for ducks and geese. Like, what's the difference? And obviously there's a huge difference. So for any of you newbies out there, that one's for you.
Yeah, the first hunt I ever went on was a dove hunt. Like I said, my uncle is a farmer, and so he had a lot of farm ponds, and he had a couple specifically that we always went to. And the best farm ponds we found are the ones that have mud ringing the edges, not vegetation. The doves like to come in there and sit on the mud and get water. So my first hunting experience was dove hunting. And all through high school, it was basically we would go on 2 or 3, maybe 4 dove hunts in September. Then we would get into turkey hunting in the fall, mostly with a bow. Then we would go on the pheasant and quail opener and hunt prairie chicken. So that was kind of our hunt calendar. So I've got quite a few dove hunts under my belt. It was a big part of our family tradition with my uncles and my cousins, and we would always meet and do that. So it was definitely a big part of our hunting culture.
So it might have been disingenuous at the beginning to say that you're not a dove expert.
I wouldn't say I'm an expert. We've done a lot of dove hunting.
So
we've done a lot.
You have a lot of information to give on it.
With the way we did it, I didn't even know that people hunted crop fields for doves. And we always hunted it around ponds every single time. And when I got more around this area, I realized that most people do it out of sunflower fields or milo fields or places like that. But we always did it around water. So dove hunting is the kind of thing where it's not like a science like duck hunting is, with the amount of know-how you really need. I mean, they're pretty habitual animals. They go to the same places to eat. They go to the same places to drink. They go to the same places along the roads to pick up gravel. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not, to me, it's not really like something you need a lot of information on, other than finding them and finding places to hunt them.
Yep.
So, but I do have a fairly rich history in hunting. It's just not in the last 20 years. It was all in the 90s and 80s and 90s that I was doing all my dove hunting.
Mm-hmm.
So that being said, I guess talk a little bit about where and when to dove hunt, how, where, and when. Any knowledge we have about how to go about doing it, where to do it, when to do it, whether it's mornings or nights. General information.
So, I mean, one thing you always hear, I would say, with dove hunting, at least I feel like, especially in our area, maybe it's not like this across the country, but you do hear a lot of people talking about public lands for duck hunting, public land properties where they've done crops, sunflower seeds, that type of thing, where they've grown sunflowers, mowed them down, and then you sit in a row of sunflowers and hunt from there. So we have that in Indiana. I know they have similar stuff in like Kansas for that as well. It's kind of a big thing, I think, that type of hunting as far as where you go. And then also beyond that, just natural farming. If you can get in with a farmer, the perfect place to look, I think, is silage fields, which anybody who's a dairy farmer, they usually have a cornfield that they just cut right near the very end of August, which puts you in perfect prime situation for dove hunting. So if you know dairy farmers that use silage to feed their cows, then that's your perfect crop. And the other one is obviously wheat. So I don't know if there's any others beyond that. Those are the only two I'm aware of to look for, and that's the only two we have in my area that are good for dove at that time of the year. And we have way more silage than wheat.
Around here, people, if they're hunting fields, it's the sunflower fields that does just as well. And anytime they're going to plant them on public, that's what they're going to plant is sunflowers. So I don't know really what all other types of fields they really like to go to. I think they like to go to the Milo, but I know that they just love the sunflower. So doves will typically, they'll do four things. So they'll roost in the trees, they will go to feed, they will go to water, and they will go to somewhere where they can pick up small pieces of gravel. The gravel gets deposited down in their crop, and that's part of basically chewing up whatever seeds or plants that they're eating. And so in the afternoon, I know their cycle is, I can't remember whether they go to the roads first or the feed first. I can't remember which one it is, but they hit the ponds last, and then from the ponds, they go to their roost. So you can hunt them, but if it's legal, you can road hunt them, which we haven't done. But you can walk up and down a ditch. I'm not sure how legal, if it's a dirt road. I think that's legal in some places because they sit on and they pick up gravel. You can find what food plots they're eating in. You can find what water they're eating, or you can just wait and try to get them coming into roost. That's a little bit later of a hunt because they don't come into roost till very dark. But all those places are places to target. But for me, I'm always just looking for those ponds with that. I said you need that mud ringing around the ponds. And some of you may have a different experience, but from my experience, if I see a pond that it doesn't have bare mud or around the water, I don't think it's going to be good for doves. Maybe my experience is just too limited, and it can be, but that's kind of what my thought has always been from my personal experience. And I've never hunted them on public land. You guys have any public fields where you're at, Jordan?
Yeah. No, I've seen people shoot limits on public land here. So I think it depends on, like anything else, it depends on the crop growth. We've had fields where they're just garbage, where they're state run and they just, for whatever reason, they didn't take good. And we have had years where they're great. And I mean, that goes down to, those are draw. So if you don't go around and scout, you're not going to know which fields grew well and which ones didn't. And you'll kind of be blind to that. So, as far as that, I think that's, a good option. If you don't have any public land, you really want to go out and hunt, why not?
I only have experience with one public land hunting. I didn't actually hunt. I was out scouting for teal last year, and this was in the evening, and me and my friend drove by this public sunflower patch, and I'm telling you, I have never ever seen more people packed into one little field in like a circle facing each other. And you remember those? There's like cartoons they used to have on Looney Tunes where it's like there's one bird in the middle, and there's like a whole circle of guys all shooting into that one bird in the middle.
Yeah.
I mean, no lie, I cannot believe that no one went to the hospital.
Huh.
Because, in fact, I think it would be fun that I might just do this. If I, on the 1st of September, if I don't have school, just go to one of these public places and just film it. Because I cannot even begin to describe how close these people were sitting to each other. And so you'd get a dove that would just fly through the gauntlet, and it's like guns just bam, bam, bam. And literally like 50 yards from each other, just shooting, not straight into each other's face, but there had to be, I can't imagine that people weren't rained on. You can still be out duck hunting and you can be rained on with shot, and you're like, well, that's a little close. But this was a whole different ballgame. Like, it was like 50 guys in this tiny little field just jacking the shot at each other. I think it would make a really interesting opening day video. I know Aiden actually goes, he's been to these public fields and hunted them before, and he talks about the craziness. It would make for a pretty interesting video.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that's how our public land is, but it was more like we're like 15, 20 yards to the left or the right. It's how close people see it. But like it's not shooting at each other.
Yeah, this was just anyone facing any which direction. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Couldn't believe it. It was crazy. So what about motion? What do you think about motion with dove hunting? I don't have any experience using, other than you playing jacking with me with dove decoys. I don't have any experience.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think with dove spinners, it's kind of like teal. It's like the more the better. I mean, I've seen people run like, like huge spreads with like 6 dove mojos. And honestly, I think in the field, I mean, you hear the same with duck hunters in the field. I mean, we've heard the same from like Ducklander calls when it's come on. Like, you need a lot of spinners in a field, which I know that's going to rub you the wrong way, Elliot. But I really do think that the more spinners you have with doves is the better. And I can.
So do you know why? Do you know why that might rub me the wrong way? Have I articulated it to you?
Because you don't like things that look cool.
That look cool?
I don't know what is it.
The reason I don't like that many spinners is because it takes, when you have that many artificial electronics going off, it ruins the environment of the place. So it's not like, it's just about aesthetics for me. If I'm sitting around and there's, vortex going off, duck hunting, and 8 spinners, it loses its natural feel to me, and it makes it a man-made feel. It's all about it. It's all about environmental aesthetics. I guess I haven't. So if people want to do that, I'm not against other people doing it. Right now, if I go out in a public marsh, I see someone using 8 spinners, I may make a couple of jokes. But ultimately, I'm not against other people doing it. I just don't like how it feels to have that many man-made electronic things whizzing around. It just, and I have attention issues as it is. It's just distracting and annoying. It'd be like someone humming in my ear. Even if you can't hear it, it's just annoying. Mm-hmm. Visually and aesthetically, it's annoying to me.
Yeah. No, I get that. I
don't want to be.
Definitely get that. But on that first dove hunt that I went out, there was a guy next to me who had a bunch of spinners, and like I said, every little dove just kind of went right over to him, and I wasn't even shooting, and he's 15 yards to my right with all those spinners and just popping every single one.
Is that where you got those spinners that you have? Those dove spinners? You stole them from that guy?
No, I got them from Amazon, like most normal people.
So how many do you have?
I just have 2.
Okay.
But I might upgrade to 6 just to make you mad.
And that's the thing about dove spinners too. I'm not ultimately against them. I don't want a bird that looks like a dove in my duck set.
I'm bringing them.
Don't want it there. I don't want it there. I know it doesn't probably make a difference.
That's all I'm bringing. When I come to hunt with you, that's all I'm bringing. Just 6.
I've been thinking about the whole thing about, I saw it go after it, never saw it. That's such a stupid arguing point on my part, because of course hawks go after teal. Of course they do. That's stupid. I just don't want dumb little ratty dove mode spinners in my awesome little
You know what?
or mallard decoys.
That's why I'm here. This is my goal in life, to help you articulate your arguments better.
We all say some dumb things from time
It wasn't
to
the
time.
hawk. I just don't like it.
Well, I was trying to flesh out that theory about the hawk, because the hawk went after the dove mojo, and I'd never seen him go after teal mojo, so maybe he could tell a difference. And if a hawk could tell a difference, maybe a duck can. But that doesn't make sense, because we all know that hawks like to eat teal and ducks. So that was a stupid argument point.
So what you're saying is, when I come to Kansas, I can bring all 6 of my dove mojos?
You only have 2. If
Well,
you want to bring them, I'm not going to stop you from bringing them. You can bring them and put them out. They're
Yeah,
not
but
my preference.
we all know that I put them out, and you literally said, now you cost Fumble Mitts his ducks.
Well, how serious was I, though? That's the question.
Yeah, you're pretty serious. I think you're pretty mad.
Yeah, you probably cost them a duck, because your ass was walking around in the set.
No, it's because they didn't decoy. That's what you said.
I don't record everything that I said, stupid thing that comes out of my mouth. I don't get. Apparently, it meant a lot to you to remember it a year later, though.
Yeah, I'm holding it against you.
You're crying. He doesn't like my duck decoys.
Hey, it made the cut in the video.
Yeah. Your video or mine?
I think all of the videos.
All of them. Yeah, there was about 15 videos came out of that one hunt.
That's more than the
All right, so
the teal we shot.
You're derailing us here a little bit. So you believe that you've seen motion work with doves. I've never ever hunted doves with motion, so I don't know. I guess no reason to believe that it doesn't work. So shot size, what do you got for shot size with doves?
Definitely not number 2. We're talking 6+, 6 and smaller.
Yeah. If I remember right, we were using 7.5 to 8 lead, which you can still use lead, depending on where you are, but private certainly. So, 7.5 to 8 shots will do the job.
Yeah, for sure. So, definitely the smaller the better with those kind of birds, because they're tiny.
Mm-hmm. Tiny and delicious little suckers. Safety tips.
Safety tip. Well, if you're hunting anywhere like what you're saying is, don't shoot if you can see the ground in your barrel.
Yeah.
Safety tip. Yeah. I mean, it's just like any other hunting. You got to know what you're aiming at and what is beyond it.
And I would say if you're in a field, you probably want to see if you can stay in a straight line. Around a pond, it can be a little bit difficult, because we used to hunt 4 guys, and some of the ponds we hunted you could shoot across the lane. They were small ponds. So as you spread out around a pond, you have to know your shooting lanes and be very, very careful, because birds can cut in between people. And so it's just something you want to talk about. I'm sitting here, here's my shooting lane, where's your shooting lane, and just discuss it and be extremely careful. And it never hurts anything to say, has everyone got their safety on? And some guys kind of feel like you're babying if you say it, but man, you can never be too safe. So safety's on, safety's off, whatever.
Yeah.
And just make sure you know your spacing, make sure you know your shooting lane, make sure you know where you're not willing to shoot, and just be careful.
Oh, yeah.
And the last thing we had on the list here is just that dove hunting is a fantastic place to take out little kids, non-hunters. Like if you have a girlfriend that doesn't hunt, take her out there. I remember my mom used to come around with us and come on some dove hunts and pick up the gun from time to time. And as long as it's not too hot, because September can be extremely hot, but it's a great casual way to expose people to hunting.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to get someone into the sport, into the wing shooting sport at all, it's a great time to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I actually took my nephew out with me last year doing that. So like you said, it's warm. It can be little quick hunts, like especially if you're going on a hardcore hunt like opening day and you're trying to shoot your limit and all that. Maybe not that one, but it's so easy to do a weeknight hunt and go out there for a couple hours and make sure they have a good experience. Like I said, warm, fun. You're going to shoot a couple birds. So that always, is a positive experience for them, opposed to going out for ducks when it's cold and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
A good introduction to hunting.
Yeah. So if you can do it, man, get out there and get those birds, and they are delicious little things. So get the fall kicked off the right way.
Yeah. I would say lastly, favorite way to eat them, dove poppers in this case. Yeah, Elliot, how about you?
My dad makes a way where he has like rice and cream of mushroom soup and kind of in a crock pot, and it's delicious. It's fantastic. That would probably be it for me.
Awesome. Alrighty, well, I think that wraps it up on our introduction to dove hunting. Definitely a lot of fun. So I'll say my goal is to shoot a limit. I want to shoot a limit of dove. I don't know if it'll happen though. It's like I said, we don't quite get out as much for dove as we do for the duck season, but definitely a lot of fun.
I guess my goal would be to have some place around here I know of that if I feel like going, I can hop out to. That's private. That would be my goal, because I would like to do a dove hunt or two a year. So I need to put out a little more effort on it.
Awesome. Alrighty, fellas. Well, I think that's all we got for tonight's podcast. Thanks again for tuning in for another good one. Guys, we are 1 week closer. T-minus, by the time this one comes out, we're going to be T-minus like 25 days, 26 days, 27, doing the math right. 27 days till season and dove season, depending on where you are across the country. So, hope you guys are pumped about it. I know we are. Last thing, guys, before we completely tune out, I need to put a quick plug in here. So, as many of you guys know that are avid followers of the channel and the podcast, me and Matt from High Prairie Sportsman are currently in a battle to the death. Not really. We got a bet though, and we're seeing who can make it to 10,000 subscribers first. Currently, I am down. I actually did an update on one of the recent podcasts, and I have made some headway, but I am currently down like 387 subscribers. And I've done the math. We're both going to hit it sometime the end of September, beginning of October, and I need your guys' help. If you guys jump over to Duck Gun Chronicles, hit that sub button so I can beat Matt. It is I'm pushing hard for it now. So calling on all of you guys to jump over there and hit that sub button. Matt, you're going down.
You got him. He's yours.
Alrighty, podcast crew, live stream crew, thanks for tuning in for another week, especially you, Matt. I'm glad you're here for that. Actually, I was kind of wishing you weren't, so I could, catch you while you're...
Don't turn off the live stream. I do want to say one more thing to the live stream.
Okay.
So don't plug that up yet.
I won't turn it off yet. But yeah, thanks everybody for tuning in. Appreciate you guys every week, in and out. But hit that like button, guys. This is the longest live stream we ever do. We're 3 minutes away from hitting the 2-hour mark. And Elliot's about to drop something. Let's see.
I'm tired, man. To shut down the podcast. No. So I can tell my story. I got a story for the live stream.
Okay. Can we hear the story?
Well, I didn't know that you had ended the podcast yet.
Oh, yeah. Well, as soon as I get done, I push stop record.
Okay, I didn't know.
Oh, yeah. So you want the live stream going right now?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so Box Outdoors Adventures made a comment about how you look clean cut and if we had gotten our Super Clip sponsors yet. Remember, because we went on a roll of talking about Great Clips and my Sam from Great Clips?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not happy at all. I rolled in there to get Nevin's haircut, and Sam was in there, and she snubbed me, man. She totally snubbed me. Like, actually, she didn't even really know me. Remember? So she's the girl that does my hair. Her name is Sam. And since this pandemic started, my wife's been doing my hair. And so, I talk about how I miss Sam, and, I'm thinking about maybe having her and her husband out to dinner and stuff. And, we roll in there, and she freaking snubbed me. So apparently it was a one-sided relationship here. From me to Sam and not from Sam to me.
She was just trying to get a bigger tip.
Well, that's not a good way to get a bigger tip, being acting like you don't even know me. I will say that we went in there and I'm like, oh my gosh, I was like, this pandemic has not done well for Sam. She's looking a little bit, picked up a few. And they're like, oh, I forgot she's pregnant. So I'm like, okay, all right, Sam. And I didn't say that to her. I didn't really say anything to her. I'm like, hey, Sam. And, she's like, basically was the impression I got, whatever. Yeah. Like, I thought we had, like, this budding friendship. And then, no. So her and husband are not coming out to my house.
She cut you loose.
And no, I was kind of hurt, man. I thought that she and I were buddies.
Yeah, well, no more Sam talk on the podcast, I guess.
No, I know. I didn't. I was going to tell the story because my feelings were really crushed. And I thought, well, Bach brought it up. I'm like, okay, I got to tell. But
awesome.
No, so they're not going to be sponsors. Period.
Yeah. I don't even go to Great Clips. I've actually been getting mine at the barber, the local barber. I guess not in my town, but the town over. We're so close. Actually, we have two small towns together that have the same high school, so I can still say the local barber because we don't have one in my town.
Yeah.
So
my wife does mine now, so
I'm gonna
save me $20 a month.
Is it coming in strong yet, Elliot?
Oh, hold on, I can't see your mullet. Let me see. I wasn't looking. Yeah, not bad. Oh, take it back off. Oh, take it back off there.
I can't see without the. I can't hear without the.
Yeah. Okay, and it's. Yeah.
By season, I'm hoping it's whipping in the wind behind that mud motor.
Mine is.
Nothing yet.
Oh, keep trying. It just, my wife keeps cutting it. All right, man. It's 10:45. I'm hoping to sneak in one more episode of Love from Prairie. Mary just went blind.
Somewhere in Wisconsin's itching for a permaban with words like that.
What did he say?
I'm just kidding.
Oh.
The mullet's been around a lot longer than him, so I don't think we can give him the patent on mullets.
Listen. Anything he does, he is the originator of. Okay, and that's just how it is. Anything he does, he is the one who started it. He's the man. He just, that's how he rolls.
I'm hoping Chase has a mullet one of these days. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, good old Chase. He's a good dude.
Awesome. All right, fellas, we made it past the 2-hour mark. History was made, as Matt said. So we're gonna sign off here. See you guys next week.